This woman writes this post dating a guy who is completely inexperienced at 30. So let's see if we can find in this post some things that really turn her off. See if we can kind of translate to, I don't know, kind of things that we can do and implement or things to avoid. Let's check it out. I recently started seeing someone new. Let's call him Blue. Blue and I have been talking, getting to know each other over the past month. He initially caught my eye with his looks, and as we're gotten to know each other, I've realized we share a lot of the same interests as well. And so, looks from a guy's perspective, that's going to get you in the door, but it's probably only going to get you only about 2 dates if looks are all you have going for you. So it's like if you're totally just not fun to be around, or you're totally into yourself, or you don't make her feel special, or whatever she feels, it's like if you don't have basically the game to back up your looks, it's not going to work for you. And so it's like one advantage to people who, like guys who are better looking, is they have that initial, basically the pickup stage is good for them. But sometimes what you'll see is, because this is the case, it's like sometimes they can hook up with a lot of women just because of their looks, but then they don't maintain relationships very well. And then you have like some other guys, like you'll see guys that are kind of like ugly guys with like beautiful women, and they sometimes struggle with the pickup phase, but they've done the work on themselves because they know they have to basically overcome that. And so they know how to really act and behave in a relationship. And then you see them in these long-term relationships, or even marrying these beautiful women when their looks are very low. So just realize that looks will only get you in the door. They will not maintain a relationship. It is totally not enough. In this regard, looks are important to women, but usually only initially. And then if the guy doesn't back it up, it's like that basically looks are then subsequent to really how she feels when she's around you. Our conversations revolved around playful banter with some subtle flirting here and there. Soon we found ourselves falling for each other. Okay, so let's see where the inexperience comes into play, because it seems like, a decent connection so far. We shared our first kiss the other day, and that's when he drops a huge bomb on me. Is it like a love bomb, or what's going on? That it all. He says it was his first kiss. He's 30, man. He's never been with a woman before at all in any way, and he's 30 years old. That's pretty rare. Interesting. And it's interesting that you didn't pick up on it until you kiss him, until he just flat out said that. Because usually people like that, or you're probably going to get those hints that they're really experienced. But it seems like you had a pretty good connection. Blue shared with me that when he was younger, he had to get one of his testicles removed. Oh shit, dude. It's like you're dumping some heavy stuff on this woman very soon. Because of that, he felt so self-conscious and insecure about it that he's never been with anyone. And so it's like, well, I don't know if you really have to disclose this if you kiss a woman, and that kind of basically supplements or suggests that he is inexperienced, because he thinks that basically just kissing a girl is such a big deal that now that he has kissed her, he thinks the two of them are in this huge agreement, almost like an exclusivity kind of thing where they have to share everything with each other. And it's like oftentimes when you do that, when you basically share heavy baggage from the start in dating, it usually ends poorly as far as your chances of getting another date. Or usually when this happens, sometimes it basically, now the other person's guards up, or now they're kind of like on edge about you. Sometimes when we bring up our own baggage, it makes the other person think about their own baggage, which they don't necessarily want to share, or they don't necessarily feel comfortable sharing that with you at this point in time. And so sometimes they'll avoid you because of that reason. It's not a good way to go. You really just want to keep things light. And if she knows that basically you have no options with women, sometimes doubts her choice being with you or dating you compared to someone else who has options. A lot of women like him, but he doesn't just necessarily rub it in her face. It's just like she knows that he is successful with women. Yeah. This completely catches me off guard, of course. Yeah. So it's like, did he do that right after the kiss, too? It's like, man, that's kind of a mood killer. Um, and I'm incredibly shocked, but I'm not turned off. I still really like him and I want to try to make this work. So my question is this: how do I proceed in a way that is neither patronizing nor condescending? Well, you just don't say you suck because you lost a testicle. I think, or something along those lines. It's like I don't think you really have to bring it up. Um, so if you can deal with it, I mean, if you can live with it, I mean, it's like, what's whatever. Um, but yeah, just don't make it into a big deal. If he displays like insecurity things, it's like, well, don't really say you're bad or or even like acknowledge, or not necessarily acknowledge because that can kind of maintain it, but give him like positive attention for these insecurities towards this. um Instead, just kind of focus on what he is doing right and with the areas that he is being strong. How do I go about teaching him? Probably not the best way to go. It's like when you try to change somebody or teach somebody, usually it can cause resentments towards each other, combative things towards each other. Sometimes when she feels like she has to teach him how to really become a man or be the strong leader or be masculine. Um, yeah, I mean, women just usually want guys to already know that and know how to behave that way. They don't want to teach you how to become a man. And oftentimes when women are in that teacher role on how to be a man, it's interpreted in their perspective. And sometimes that's not an accurate one on how to really be masculine. I don't know about I don't know about actively trying to teach this guy how to be in relationships. I think he's really got to do that on his own. I'm a fairly shy person myself, so the thought of having to take the lead is quite daunting. Yeah, in the long term, that's really going to drop attraction. If you are the one who has to take the lead, he's not stepping up as a strong leader, it's like that's not necessarily going to make you feel safe under his leadership and in the relationship, not necessarily from him, but just like the vibe you get. Um, so I'm absolutely willing to accept that challenge. Yeah, unfortunately, you're accepting a challenge to take the lead and adopt a masculine mask. If this guy's not like stepping up and he wants to be in this passive role, when that happens, it's like naturally you sometimes, naturally feel out of balance. It's like sometimes just hormonally or whatever. It's like women usually feel more comfortable in their feminine energy compared to being in their masculine energy. It's not always the case, but then on the other side, it's like he probably feels more comfortable in his masculine energy, but he is basically being in this passive role and this more feminine role, and the polarities are switched. And you'll just see this pattern when this happens. Oftentimes, it's like you just don't feel as comfortable in the relationship, or the attraction isn't always there. Um, And so, personally, I mean, from my perspective, it does not seem like you're starting this from a totally ideal situation or an ideal foundation on this relationship, this dating relationship. Um, it seems like you're trying to patch something to work instead of just having it naturally work and already be good to go. And then basically just show up how you naturally are, and they show up how they naturally are. And then you kind of just align, and then it's an easy, low drama relationship. This one, it kind of just seems like there might be some drama that will come along with this long term. Um, There's no way around knowing how to like show up and behave in relationships. And that is absolutely essential. And so few people do it. And they try to basically just wing it or be creative without any kind of model or foundation or any kind of practice or study. And these things take study to understand how to communicate, how to show up with polarities, how to manage the space, how to make the other person feel, how to solve problems in the way that your partner would solve them, not necessarily how you would. So it's like if you have that perception, it goes along with communication, understanding how they basically think, and then basically, adapting or solving a problem based on that. But there's just a lot to it. It takes a lot of time. There's no way around that again. Just like practicing a sport or an instrument, it's like you just improve your skills daily. Find somebody that you can go in their content deep, and then find out the principles they use, apply those principles into your own life, and it will work so much better. And ideally, you want to be with someone who knows these things. That way you can make it smooth, make the relationship smooth, and with a lot less drama.